First tonight, the prosecution resting its case as closing arguments began in the trial for two men charged in connection to the death of Dayton Police Detective George Del Rio back in 2019. Lydia Bice was there all day. So, Lydia, what key points did the prosecution present today?
Elise, there are 8 charges that the U.S. has brought against Nathan Goddard Jr. and Kaki Courtner. Those are 3 drug charges, 3 firearm charges, and 2 charges for allegedly killing Detective George Del Rio. Now, Courtner is only facing some of those charges, but Goddard is facing all of them, and that's because Goddard is the one accused of firing the weapon that killed Del Rio. Now, Goddard is claiming self-defense, but in closing arguments today, the prosecution played video from that night where a detective asked Goddard how many times he was shot at. In the video, he said, quote, "You're asking the wrong guy." After that video played, the prosecution asked the jury if, quote, "You're saying you were shot at first and claiming self-defense. Shouldn't you know how many times you were shot at?" The prosecution then ended closing statements by playing a jailhouse phone call. On that call, Goddard told the other person that he, quote, "wakes up every day the same dude," and that he's, quote, "kicking it." Prosecutors say this proves that he shows no remorse for his actions. Now, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., the defense will present their closing arguments and will, of course, be in court all day again tomorrow. And we're going to bring you the latest both here on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. And of course, you can get those updates sent right to the palm of your hand. Download our Dayton 24/7 Now app. It's easy to do. Take out your phone, scan the QR code you see there on your screen. That'll take you to your app store. You can download it for free.
We now know tonight a social studies teacher at Catholic Central High School in Springfield has been indicted for sexual battery. Michael McKenna is charged with 6 counts of sexual battery, all for alleged incidents involving a former student. Springfield police say the accusations happened from January 2017 to May of 2018. Now, in a statement from Catholic Central, the president says in part, quote, "Mr. McKenna has been terminated from his position at Catholic Central. We are committed to cooperating fully with law enforcement in their investigation. Please know that the safety of our students is and always will be of the utmost importance to all of us at Catholic Central. We ask that you keep all parties, including the entire Catholic Central community, in your prayers."
Tonight, a 13-year-old arrested after making threats to 3 different school districts in Licking County. Kate Seifert breaks down the events and the impact it's had on the schools where those threats were made.
A 13-year-old is facing charges for allegedly making threats to 3 different school districts in Licking County, Ohio. That teen is facing multiple charges, including making terroristic threats and tampering with evidence. Now, police here in the area have said all of those threats were not credible. But meanwhile, districts in the area are still telling us that it's created challenges for them with their students, and parents within the district, they're having to communicate that their schools are indeed safe. But there is also a financial impact for these school districts as they work to possibly enhance some of the safety measures that they have to ensure that all students within all 3 of those districts that were targeted feel safe and comfortable coming to the school. Meanwhile, that 13-year-old student
Vehicle had been involved in a pedestrian crash back in April of last year. Ferguson pled guilty to felony counts of vehicular assault and failure to stop after an accident. He's facing 16 unrelated felony charges across multiple jurisdictions. Ferguson will be sentenced on April 1st.
Taking a look right now, this is drone footage over Xenia. Beautiful day out there. Really, those skies, a gorgeous blue. In the Miami Valley, all over the Miami Valley. So let's send it straight out to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters, where I'm actually jealous tonight.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to decide if it was worth a jacket out here. I feel comfortable, but I could probably go without a jacket. It's Feeling great. Temperature-wise, we're in the 60s. It's beautiful. 67 in Dayton. We got 67 in Troy, 66 in Sydney, 63 over in Bellefontaine right now. We do have some high clouds, those high cirrus clouds building their way in, and we'll continue to see on and off clouds making their way through the Miami Valley tonight and into the day tomorrow. All of us, however, sitting warmer compared to this time yesterday, 11 degrees warmer in Dayton, same thing over in Springfield. Now tomorrow, still another nice day. We have mild weather still in the forecast, but eventually rain chances are going to increase. Clouds building in overnight, so we'll fall into the 40s through the overnight hours, but eventually we will be looking at rain and even some thunderstorm chances by later this week, and cooler air on the way too, so I'll time it all out for you coming up.
We're following breaking news now out of Uvalde, Texas. The Uvalde police chief announcing he's stepping down. Chief Daniel Rodriguez made that abrupt announcement today, just hours before a city council meeting to discuss that recent report into the 2022 school shooting that killed 19 children, 2 teachers. Now, that independent report cleared police officers of wrongdoing. Rodriguez's resignation effective April 6th. He became chief in 2018, but he was not in Uvalde on the day of the shooting. The acting chief that day failed to take action to save children trapped by the shooter.
Well, it is military signing day for high school students across the state. Coming up, we'll have a look at the ceremony held in honor for the teens today.
Also, Dayton men's basketball picking up a few honors from the Atlantic 10 today. How the Flyers are balancing that recognition with preparing for the conference tournament.
So he usually readjusts in between.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A focus on sky shows today, starting with the Northern Lights, which were on display last night in Fairbanks, Alaska. SpaceX's Dragon Endurance spacecraft and Crew 7 astronauts returned to Earth this morning. It was visible across central and southern states before splashing into the Gulf of Mexico. And this shot of the crescent moon in Rhode Island is a reminder that the total solar eclipse is now just 27 days away.
Listen to Off the Radar, new episodes every Tuesday.
High school students from across Ohio gathering in Columbus today to celebrate their commitment to serve in the U.S. Armed Forces. Sarah Converse shows us.
Honor, tradition, and service. High school juniors and seniors were honored today for Military Signing Day at the National Veterans Memorial and Museum. Students from across Ohio came together to make a commitment to the United States military. Future Marines, soldiers, pilots, and sailors, joined by past and present service members. Major General John Harris explains why this day is important.
It's so great to recognize these young people that sometimes don't get appropriately recognized by their peers or by other parents. Those who go into military service, in the past the question has always been, why not four-year college? Now our society recognizes that these young people are going on to an honorable profession, and having the opportunity like this today to honor them just warms our heart, but more importantly, validates to our state and to our nation that this is an honorable step in their career paths.
The signing day ended with the presentation of graduation cords and their first salute.
All right, veterans, return that salute.
I'm Sarah Converse reporting.
Back here in the Miami Valley, an absolutely beautiful day outside. It actually kind of feels really a lot like spring.
Yeah, I took a walk. So many things in bloom already. A little early, but you know, it's really nice to kind of see things get a little bit greener out there. Still nice out here this evening as well, and we'll continue to see this nice weather for tonight into the day tomorrow. And then of course, when it gets this nice this time of the year, we have a cold front that's going to be making its way in, and that's going to eventually bring some rain, some storms, and then drop our temperatures too. But for right now, just some high cirrus clouds building their way through. Bigger picture here, our next weather maker is off to our northwest. We actually do have a cold front that's going to begin to make its way into the area. Notice that we do have some clouds streaming in from our west as well. Those will kind of be on and off across the area as we head into the day tomorrow. We'll start out in the 40s, so chilly, but not quite as cold as we have been. Heading into the afternoon, highs soaring back up into the upper 60s, close to 70 degrees. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a couple 70s out there. And then it's by Thursday, we'll start to see rain and thunderstorm chances return, potentially a few storms early into the morning. I will say there have been a couple of forecast models indicating maybe thunderstorms on the stronger side making their way in heading into our Thursday afternoon. This is definitely an outlier situation, but thunderstorms possible during our day on Thursday. Temperature-wise will be mild, and even potentially some more storms making their way in early into the day on Friday. We have colder air eventually on the way too, so I'll time that out for you coming up.
A story now from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal. An iconic tri-state family destination could be disappearing for good. That is, unless the right buyer steps forward to continue the legacy. Entertainment Junction in Westchester was put up for sale by its owner and founder. It is the world's largest indoor train display with a railroad museum and even indoor theme park. The 100,000 square foot facility is listed at $6.5 million. The owner has listed the location after 16 years. He says he's going to retire at the end of the year. Now we have all the details right now at Dayton247now.com. You can find this story and others like it under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the news tab.
Well, time now for the Bob's Discount Furniture Sports Desk. The Atlanta 10 Conference just announcing the men's basketball awards today, but many Dayton fans taken by surprise by one of those awards. Matt Digby live outside UD Arena. Matt, a lot of Flyers taking home some hardware today, but the Player of the Year honor being shared by a Flyer and someone else.
Yeah, Adam, you talk about Deron Holmes II. He's been openly discussed as an All-America selection, and it's not hard to see why. The way that he's been able to lead not just the team, the entire conference in scoring over 20 points a game. He's in the top 30 in the country, but he is the co-player of the year for the Atlantic 10, sharing that recognition with Richmond's Jordan King. We asked him about that earlier this afternoon, but he took away of a high road approach, saying he's thankful for the recognition.
It just shows all the hard work we've done. All the hard work I put in, and I'm just trying to get better every day, so, you know, it's a blessing. I had a feeling something like that was going to happen, but I'm grateful to get the award, honestly, and we're just, like I said, we're going to go out here and play hard and do what we do.
Now, Holmes was recognized as the sole defensive player of the year of the Atlantic 10 Conference, and he was an all first-team selection. In addition, Dayton selected Kobe Brea. He was named the sixth man of the year for a second time, and Nate Santos named to both the third team and the all-academic team. So 3 Dayton Flyers players in total being honored on Tuesday.
It's a big day for the Flyers. They got a couple of days left till the Atlantic 10 tournament, but regardless of how they perform in Brooklyn, the Flyers are largely considered a lock for the NCAA tournament. So how are they balancing all their focus?
Yeah, and that was asked and acknowledged on Tuesday afternoon. We met with a couple of the players before they headed out to Brooklyn. They're about to leave in the next couple of minutes. And Anthony Grant stresses the opportunity of playing for a championship this week in the conference tournament. That's actually something that hasn't happened since 2003 when the Flyers won right here at UD Arena. But Anthony Grant likes where his team is at as they get ready to play potentially up to 3 games in Brooklyn.
They really enjoy playing with each other. They enjoy playing for each other. And they're a competitive group that has set goals in terms of winning championships. So I think that's first and foremost on everybody's mind. I'd like to see for this group them have the opportunity to experience what it feels like to be a champion.
Now, the Flyers are the 3 seed. They will play Thursday night in the quarterfinal. What they don't know right this minute is who they will play. One of Duquesne, Rhode Island, or St. Louis. That will be determined for sure on Wednesday night. That's who will be on the opposing bench when the Flyers take the court at Barclays Center in Brooklyn for the A10 quarterfinals. Live at UD Arena, I'm Matt Digby.
Matt, thank you. Well, nearly 2/3 of 4th graders in the U.S. are now struggling to read at grade level. That's why Dayton 24/7 now, we're partnering with Reading is Fundamental and our parent company Sinclair for Sinclair Cares, supporting children's literacy. Just scan the QR code right there to donate to our virtual book drive.
Well, the sun will be setting here shortly and should be a pretty nice sunset, followed by, of course, that moonrise, which if you saw last night's moon, it was pretty neat to see. I captured this last night. A lot of folks actually said they saw the very similar sighting with this crescent moon, but what you could also see here is the outline of the moon, and what this is called is earth shine, which is basically the light from Earth illuminating the moon just a little bit more. So you could see the crescent moon, but you could also see the rest of the moon too. So it was just a really cool sight to see. Chime in your photos. I'd love to see them. Head to our website, Dayton247now.com. Click chime in. Next several days, great for some stargazing, at least temperature wise. We got that rain that will eventually arrive, but then notice by the weekend it gets colder. High temperatures only in the upper 40s heading into our Sunday, and believe it or not, a couple of snowflakes in our forecast as we start off next week. So I'll have a look at our 7-day coming up in just a bit.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Well, temperatures across the area tomorrow, another beautiful day. We'll start out chilly and in the 40s, but we rebound nicely. 60s for the afternoon, clouds on and off, but overall another day with sunshine, another day that will just be really nice before we start to see that active weather make its way in with rain, thunderstorms possible on Thursday, even into our Friday. Friday just looks like a pretty soggy day overall with temperatures that'll be in the 60s. Getting cooler for the weekend, 50s, 40s, heading into next week. Take a look at Monday. So highs in the mid 40s. There are signs of potentially a couple of snowflakes making their way in. Sorry, guys.
Say it.
Not going to be looking at accumulation. It's not looking likely at this point, but it is March. Anything could happen in Ohio in March, but temperature-wise in the 40s. It is going to be a cold start to next week, but it does look like eventually we will start to see those temperatures begin to rebound by the longer term. So heading more into late March, we could start to see more of temperatures returning closer to normal, which is still 50 degrees. So, I mean, we're right now about 20 degrees above average.
Okay, don't rub it on our faces. We get it. No.
We have been so spoiled. I feel like we're just so used to it at this point.
Isn't it fun having us give real-time reaction to your forecast?
It's all right. I feel the same way.
Is it like when somebody, like a comedian's like heckled on stage?
Yeah.
Right.
If only she could say what she wanted to say.
I know. That would be scary, actually.
Yeah, we'd be